What's going on, peeps? Merry Christmas. Hopefully you guys have had a good morning so far. I had a couple things. I have this hat. Let me see. There we go. It says, "The Lions Make Me Drink." I'm currently wearing Budweiser pajamas. So I guess I could say Drew Weiser pajamas. And I also have a new and improved What t-shirt. I put some miles on the other one. So hopefully you guys have had a good Christmas. And hopefully that this video today that we'll be watching gives us a Christmas present as well. For those of you guys who don't know what we'll be reacting to, well, today we are reacting to, it's the same guy. What's his name? Sporting Logically? Yes, sir. He has a video called NBA Trade Machine Detroit Pistons 2019-2020. So we're going to hop in here for a minute. From what we have gathered through his last video, his trades aren't very good. This video was made November 29th, 2019. Adam from Instagram, gave me the link, so shout out to him. But let's go ahead and change setups here, and we'll hop right into it. So if you guys like it, please hit that like button. Check out the description. I do have something different planned for Above the Rim. Since it is the holiday season, it's going to be the last show of 2019. We're not really going to be talking just basketball. What I got a trivia game lined up. I have a trivia game lined up, and I am going to do something special for the winner. So if you guys want to hop on the Above the Rim, DSA comes first, so I'm going to take roll call for them. But we're going to play a game, and the winner is going to get a prize. And depending on who wins, is going to determine the prize. So stay tuned for that this Saturday, 1 p.m. It should be fun. So let's go ahead and change to that. Let's go ahead and make that big. Let's make sure that looks good real quick. I want to make sure it sounds good too. All right, looks good to me. Let's hop into it, man. What's going on, everybody? Oh. Hey, Tony, man, I appreciate that. You come in clutch, man. Merry Christmas. You don't have to do that. But he says Boston Clips, Blazers, good fits for Dre, in my opinion. All great fits for him. Absolutely. Oh, you guys can't hear it? Oh, I probably should have checked it. Oh. Good luck. Boom. There we go. My fault. You guys didn't miss nothing. He was just plugging, so he didn't say nothing.
Gorgie Jang and 2 first-round picks from the Timberwolves in exchange for Blake Griffin and Christian.
Okay. Like I said, man, I did not pick this video, so I don't like this guy talking about the Detroit Pistons, but like I said, this Adam dude sent me this link, so shout out to Adam. Christian Wood is non-tradable in my opinion. It's only 24. Look at that contract, 1.6 mil for this year. He's someone I want to bring back. And none of those guys on the T-Wolves am I really anxious for. And again, the way Blake Griffin's been playing this year, we're not going to get that much in return. 2 first-round draft picks, no way that happens. That's not realistic. For Blake, the way he's been playing. Blake's got a huge contract. Jeff Teague's an expiring deal, so we would have him and Reggie coming off the books next year. But look at dang, he's averaging what? Is that 16 mil per year, or is that 8 per year? I'm pretty sure there's no way that's 16 per year. Either way, it's a big contract. I don't want it. not a good trade. But again, this was made on November 29th, so I'm going to give the guy a pass a little bit.
Would. Now, the first reason that I picked this one is because it was an interesting team. And initially, when I was thinking about potential Blake Griffin trade destinations, the Timberwolves were not a team that came to mind at first. But once I saw this, it actually makes a good amount of sense. Getting Blake Griffin to pair alongside Karl Anthony Towns. In this scenario, Jeff Teague would be leaving, but they'd still have Andrew Wiggins. And that would be a nice three-man group to kind of build around moving forward. It would be an expensive group, but this is a Timberwolves team that's playing well and could want to capitalize on that by trying to make a playoff push this year, and bringing in Blake Griffin would certainly help them do that. However, this is where I first get to some issues that I have with the trade, and that is the Pistons are getting a lot in return for Blake Griffin, and I'm not sure that the Timberwolves really need to give up this much. I understand how well Blake Griffin played last year, but he's now over 30. He's had some injury issues in the past. He didn't start the season healthy this year either. And even though I think if he does get moved, it's going to be significant value, giving up multiple first-round picks in addition to a nice young player like Okogie, in my opinion, is too much. Now, part of that is because the Pistons aren't getting as much salary relief in this as they would normally hope to. They're getting the Jeff Teague expiring, which helps.
See, here's my problem with guys making trades like this. He just said it's too much. Why the hell did you make this then? That is my only thing. If it's too much, it's not realistic, it's not going to happen. Next one, please.
Okogie is on a rookie deal, but the Gorgui Dieng contract
for the guys who don't know how YouTube works, this is something you guys can take into effect. When you make a video over 10 minutes, you can get ad revenue put into it, which we don't make a whole lot of money doing from ad revenue, but he's got 63,000. So he probably makes a pretty good amount of money doing this. So I think he's just trying to milk it for this one, because this is not a good trade. You better step it up.
Until next offseason, so not as much immediate salary relief as they would hope to get in exchange for Blake Griffin. But if I'm the Pistons, I'm still taking this trade pretty immediately if it's offered. Now, it's not specifically what the protections are on the picks. I'm assuming there will be some kind of protection on them. But regardless, this would be a nice move for the Pistons to make to start kind of tearing down their roster and rebuilding and looking towards the future with a nice young player in Okogie that can defend and will develop as an offensive player, the salary relief, and then the picks.
If you need a hearing aid, you have to try Eargo.
I'm sorry, dude.
Are invisible, rechargeable hearing
hey, if you guys get one of these from me, watch
wear.
it. I'm just playing. But I don't got
hand,
time.
for the
It's
Timberwolves,
Christmas. I
they're not
got stuff to
giving
do.
up a ton in terms of their team right now. They would need to find some kind of replacement in terms of the point guard spot with Jeff Teague leaving. My big issue is just the future first that they'd be giving up. But in terms of this year, this would definitely make them a much better team. Moving on now to a trade that I came up with, and this is the Pistons receiving.
Okay, so let's see. Just Reggie Jackson straight up for Tyler Johnson. He's making $19 million. What? He's a solid player. Who the hell gave him 19? Who did that? I don't know who Okabu is. Let's see. I mean, it's pretty much even. I mean, we get Tyler Johnson expiring deal. He's making $0.4 million than Reggie is. And then we get Okabu. I'm guessing he's a young dude. Yeah, he's making league minimum, so I don't know if Phoenix would do it. I don't know.
Tyler Johnson and Elie Okobo in exchange for Reggie Jackson. Now, this is kind of a weird one, right? Because you're coming into this video thinking it's going to involve all these big-name players and all these big-name teams. But not every trade has to be a superstar trade. Sometimes teams just improve along the margins. And I think this is what would be happening here for Phoenix. And for Detroit, I'll get to them later. But specifically for the Suns, their point guard depth is a bit of an issue at the moment. Ricky Rubio has been really good for them, but behind that, they really don't have a ton in terms of veteran, good quality point guard depth. And even though I'm not a huge Reggie Jackson guy, if you're bringing him off the bench, I think he could be really good for this Suns team. That means that in second units, Devin Booker can continue to play off the ball as well as on the ball at times. But right now, when Rubio's not on the floor, Booker has to do a lot of the on-ball playmaking stuff. And again, just having another playmaker in Reggie Jackson would be nice, in addition to shoring up their backup point guard spot. And they're really not giving up very much here. Tyler Johnson is a big expiring contract, just like Reggie Jackson is, so you're not really losing anything there on either side. And then the Suns are also giving up Okobo, who I understand some people have high hopes for, but it just doesn't really look like he is going to develop all that well in Phoenix at the moment. And so attaching him to Tyler Johnson as just a little bit more incentive for the Pistons to make this deal to improve their guard rotation and potentially push for the playoffs this year makes sense to me. On the other hand, for the Pistons, the expiring contract stuff, like I said, just kind of washes out. And this is basically just about giving up a slightly better player in Jackson in exchange for a slightly worse one in Johnson, while getting a future player that could potentially be something down the road in Okobo. So like I said, I understand that this isn't the most high-profile trade in the world, but not every trade has to be like that. And I think this would be one that would improve both teams in a certain way, and it would be kind of a win-win. Like I said, a right-now win for the Suns in terms of their guard rotation, whereas the Pistons would get another potential young asset down the road in exchange for a player that's leaving this offseason anyway. Next up now, Randy has a trade in which the Celtics would be receiving...
Pause. Stop, please. For the love of God, stop. Yeah, he milked the hell out of that one. Again, like, it's not a bad trade, but he milked the hell out of it. Let's see. Drummond and Galloway for Hayward and a first. Now, personally, I'm not a big Hayward fan. He's okay. You know, he's an alright player. And he had that one, I'll say 2 great seasons in Utah. I got him the huge contract here in Boston. Then ever since he broke his ankle, he really hasn't been the same. They paid him a lot of money. A lot. Look at, he's making $32 million. $32 million is a lot of money to pay a player. He is not going to come in here and make us that much better. You know, he's a solid guy. He scores. He can pass. He's an okay defender. But, you know, he's not a great player. He's not an all-star. He's okay. You know, that's just a lot of money to put into one player who's just okay. That first would be nice, but at the same time, it's from Memphis, so okay, that could be a top tier pick then. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Okay, you know, we're not going to get much in return for Andre. I'm not so sure Boston is going to give up a first round draft pick for him, but Boston does need a center. It's what they have been missing since Brad Stevens took over there. They're going to be coming at Andre pretty hard come free agency. Pretty hard. I just don't know, for one, if they're going to give up that draft pick. You know, we thought that the Celtics were going to be a lot more aggressive in trading for Anthony Davis. They had all those draft picks for then. Why would they waste one of the first-round draft picks on Andre Drummond? You know, there's bigger fish out there. What's going on, Luke G? Merry Christmas. I just don't see Boston being this aggressive towards Andre. When they had Anthony Davis, they could have threw that pick at him. I just don't see them wasting that pick on a guy like Andre. You know, Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in the league. Andre's a top 5 center in the league. There's a difference. So I don't know if Boston would do that. Again, I don't want Hayward anyway, but
Andre Drummond and Langston Galloway in exchange for Gordon Hayward and the Memphis first-round pick. He says Detroit loses 2 players that they might lose in the offseason and get a pick to start the rebuild. Boston lose a pick that doesn't fit their timeline and gets a solid center that can be signed to a team-friendly deal due to his probable lack of a market.
When does a first-round draft pick never fit your timeline? That may have been the most idiotic thing I've ever heard said. You always want first-round draft picks. I don't care if you're the Golden State Warriors with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and KD. You always want more talent. That is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
To fit with the core.
No offense to this guy.
Okay, so this is one of a handful of Pistons-Celtics trades that involved either Blake Griffin or Andre Drummond, and almost all of them involved a Gordon Hayward swap, because that's really the only way that the salaries could work. And I'm still going to go over this trade, but I want to emphasize that I really, really doubt that the Celtics are going to trade Gordon Hayward this year. He was playing a lot better at the beginning of the season. He's been out with injury, and he is just really connected to this franchise based off the injury stuff, as well as his connection with Brad Stevens from his college days. I understand that it's still a business and they want to improve their team where they can, but I wouldn't just automatically throw him into these trades just because he's the only salary that really works.
You see, he knows a lot more about every other team than he does the Pistons. He doesn't watch the Pistons. You know, that's a lot of the cases with these big YouTubers. They don't watch every team. It's a lot to watch every team. What's going on, Micro Mike? Merry Christmas, man. That's the problem with some of these bigger YouTubers, you know. I don't claim to know much about all the teams in the league, so I don't speak on all the teams in the league. I know the Detroit Pistons, you know. The way he's talking about the Celtics, I can tell he watches the Boston Celtics. He just box score chases with the Pistons.
Because I think they are relatively committed to keeping him, especially based off how well he was playing in the beginning of the season. However, having said that, I can understand the logic here of the Celtics upgrading at the 5 spot. That's something that they need to do. They don't really need Hayward on the wing as much as they need a better player at the 5. Whether Drummond's that player or not, I don't know, but I can understand the logic. Drummond would be an outstanding rebounder, a nice rim roller, someone that would just fit really nicely into this Celtics lineup pretty much straight away. And then, as he mentioned, you can kind of deal with some of the free agency stuff when it happens. And then you're getting Langston Galloway as well, who's not going to be a world beater or anything, but in the backcourt provides some nice size and shooting when he's actually playing well. But here's my problems. I already talked about the Gordon Hayward stuff. My other issue with this is the Memphis pick being traded by the Celtics, because it's possible that ends up just being like the 10th through 15th pick or something next year, because they're probably not getting it this year if it lands in the top 6. I get all that stuff, but I'm just not convinced that Andre Drummond is a guy that you're giving up potential lottery picks for.
Okay, but again, I don't know if he's making these trades or not. Okay, no. So people are sending them in. Okay. You just said, though, in the beginning of this trade that it doesn't fit their timeline. Okay, that's the guy. I'm sorry. That was the guy from Twitter. All right, you're good.
And especially given that I'm not sure that he's really the greatest fit either at the 5 spot in terms of what the Celtics need. The Celtics need a rim protector, a really good defensive big, and Drummond is solid there, but he's not going to be great defensively, and it's really just about...
Only player to have 4 seasons with 1,000 points, 1,000 boards, 100 blocks, and 100 steals.
Rebounding and offensive rebounds and putbacks and things like that. And then there's some other negatives as well with Drummond. So I'm not sure that he's the guy for the Celtics, and I already talked about the fact that I don't think they're going to...
He is the guy. He is the guy. Come on. Well, the Celtics needed a center since Brad Stevens has taken over. Andre is a top 5 center. Now, he may not be Anthony Davis. He may not be DeMarcus Cousins. He may not be Joel Embiid. But I'd be damned if he did not help the Boston Celtics get better. And Boston's already a top 2, top 3 team in the East. He would help them out tremendously. Him and Kemba would be lethal together in Brad Stevens' offense. And you guess what? Brad Stevens gets everybody involved. Andre would be a huge piece for Brad Stevens, a huge piece for Kemba. I mean, look how many jumpers Tatum and Brown take. When they miss, guess who's there? Mr. Andre Drummond. He would be a huge pickup for Boston.
To be trading away Gordon Hayward. So if I'm the Celtics, I'm saying no to this deal. If I'm the Pistons, I'm probably taking it, because you're getting like the expiring, which is the equivalent.
You see how every team he's done so far, they say no, but the Pistons say yes. We're not that dumb.
Equivalent of
people think we'll make trades just because we're out of the playoff picture right now, which, you know, that's not the worst trade in the world, but Boston wouldn't do it, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Of Drummond, and then you're getting the pick as well, which I think is really good value for Andre Drummond at this point on the trade market. So that's just kind of where I stand on this trade, but I appreciate you sending it in. Next up is a trade that I came up with, and it is
God,
Hassan
no.
Whiteside Mario Hezonja
No.
and a first-round pick from
Hell
the Pistons
no.
in exchange for Blake Griffin. For the Trailblazers, this is a package that you're going to continue to see thrown around in trade machine videos.
Okay, Blazers are a playoff team. The draft pick ain't going to be worth much. Hezonja sucks, expiring deal, and I don't want Hassan Whiteside at all. I don't want either one of those two bums. And, that draft pick's going to be somewhere between 15 and, 25. And you're not going to get a great player in return for it. This is just dumping Blake Griffin off for salary cap, which at the end of the day isn't the bad thing, but I mean, we're not going to get much out of this trade. And looking back at what we traded for Blake Griffin, Tobias in a first, let's see what he says.
Videos, whether it's Kent Bazemore or Hassan Whiteside, they have two gigantic expiring contracts to potentially bring in players like Blake Griffin and like Kevin Love and things like that.
Okay, but think about it from this way, because this is really bugging me. Why would a team like Portland, who is very close to being a good team, they signed Carmelo? I haven't heard much about Carmelo lately. Is he still doing good? I don't know. Haven't been keeping up with it. But why would they waste all this salary cap? They are getting freed up in the next season. He just said Kent Bazemore and a Whiteside are expiring deals. That's good for them. They're going to have salary cap next season. Every year there's a star traded. Someone's going to demand a trade at the end of this year. Why not use some of that salary cap to get that player? Blake Griffin's a great player when healthy, which is almost never. I think they would keep their money saved up and invest in someone better. Not disrespecting Blake. I love Blake.
Now, for me, again, this is kind of on the lower end in terms of value in exchange for Blake Griffin, where you're getting the expiring contract of Whiteside. Hezonja is basically just there to make the salaries work, and then you're getting the first-round pick as well. And that might not seem like a ton, but the immediate salary cap relief of the Hassan Whiteside expiring contract is a huge, huge deal in a Blake Griffin trade. Now, if you want to, you could potentially do like Whiteside plus Collins plus a pick. To me, that's too much, but if that's something you want to do, then that's completely fine. And so the on-court stuff is pretty obvious here. The Trailblazers aren't playing well. They want to go a little bit more all in with this roster. They need more scoring, specifically in the front court. Blake gives them that. He was an all-NBA caliber player last year. Then you've got your three guys. You've got Dame, you've got CJ, you've got Blake. Moving forward, those are your three. And that's a really good big three, especially in a championship chase that is relatively wide open. However, Portland is just not playing well enough right now for this move to be justified. In my opinion, this is kind of a down the road thing. If we get closer to the All-Star break and they're at like 500, this could be a trade I could see them making because they want to cash in on the Whiteside expiring while they have it. And I also want to reiterate that this pick is going to be protected in some way, whether it's lottery protected or top 10 protected or whatever. So for Portland, this is kind of a wait and see.
Then you don't do it if it's protected.
This trade in your back pocket type deal, and if you start to play better, then you make this move. For Detroit, I think it's relatively good value in terms of the immediate salary relief as well as the pick. I'm not saying that Blake Griffin is going to have a ton of value at this point, nor is Andre Drummond, even though a lot of teams are wanting to upgrade their rosters, specifically in the front court, with the league being relatively wide open. I'm just not sure that given Griffin's age and injury history and Drummond's kind of, stat stuffing, but maybe not helping you a ton to win stuff with their games, I'm just not sure that they're going to be getting like multiple first round picks and a quality young player for these guys. So for me, I'm saying yes to this if I'm Portland, and if I'm Detroit, I'm also probably saying yes as well, but I can understand if you want to get a little bit more value if you're a Pistons fan and put like Zach Collins in there instead of Hezonja. That's completely fair. And last up, Matt says that the Pistons would receive Zaire Smith, Mike Scott, and a second round pick in exchange for...
Do I need to even say anything on this one? Team-friendly deals. They're not overpaying. Scott's good. He's a solid guy. I don't know who the hell Smith is. Derrick Rose has probably got one of the best contracts in the league. You're only paying Derrick Rose $7 million to be a backup point guard, and a damn good one. What the fuck is this, dude?
for Derrick Rose. He says, as a Sixers fan, trading Mike Scott hurts, but the Sixers need another guard off the bench who can hit threes. They rank dead last in three-point attempts, and if the Pistons decide it's time for a rebuild, D. Rose will want to be traded to a contender. And the reason this is included is because I really want to see Derrick Rose on the 76ers. I never really knew that I wanted to until...
Boom. You got to take your favoritism out of it, man. Derrick Rose has been one of our best players this year. There are teams who would love to have Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has got great value. He's been looking healthy all season long. Been playing fantastic all season long. I don't understand why you're trying to shortchange Derrick Rose. I really don't. And just because you want to see him on the Sixers doesn't mean he'll go there. I mean, quite frankly, he'd be better in Boston. Boston would be killing it with Derrick Rose. Because their system with Brad Stevens is point guard friendly. He'd kill it over there in Boston. Milwaukee would be a better fit. I don't know if Milwaukee needs him. You could see a Derrick Rose and Kyle Lowry trade. Not saying I like it. But you'd give Van Fleet time to start. And then you could plug Derrick Rose coming in off the bench and making Toronto very good. Plus, you give Dwayne Casey a guy he's familiar with. Not saying I like it, but, you know, we've heard rumors of DeRozan and Lowry being involved in trades for the Pistons. I don't know how true they were. But those are some of the teams out east that he could go to. And the numbers out west, I mean, it's all competitive out west. I mean, almost every team out west could use the services of Derrick Rose. There's not too many teams in the league that would say no. You know, he's got 2 more years left on his deal, this one and next one. I think he's really trying. He should be ring chasing right now. He should be. Because I think he's going to spend his last couple years back in Chicago. So we're only got a couple more years to see Derrick Rose on other teams before he goes back to Chicago. So, not saying Chicago will trade for him, but he's going back there before he retires.
I saw this trade, and it really piqued my interest. I feel like he would play really well for them as a scorer on the perimeter, as a playmaker, as he said, as a guy that can make jump shots. And this would be not only a really good fit, but just a really interesting fit. And Derrick Rose would be on a contending team again. And it would just be really fun to see. In terms of compensation, Zaire Smith and Mike Scott are 2 good players. Mike Scott doesn't help the Pistons a ton because he's more of like a veteran guy that you trade for when you're pushing for a championship. But the Zaire Smith thing, he could end up being really good. I know the Sixers were really high on him at the time that he was drafted. And so that could be potentially good value for the Pistons in exchange for Derrick Rose. Like I said, I just think this would be a really cool thing to see Derrick Rose on the 76ers. Would be really nice for them. But that is...
All right, we don't got it. Do we have a different video we can watch here too? I mean, excuse the screen for a second. No, not really looking like anymore. Why don't we do this? Because I don't want to end it yet. Let's go Detroit Pistons. Yes, I Googled myself on here. Let's see what pops up. We got highlights. I mean, let's see if we got something else. We got how to fix them. We did that the other day. We got some interviews. There's Christy Flakes reacting to it. Christy Flakes again. There's a Detroit Drew video. You guys should go watch that. There's an Everything King. What's going on, Everything King? I watched that video. It was a pretty good one. I mean, there's not... Do you guys got any videos you want me to watch? Oh, God. I really don't want to watch another one of his videos, to be honest with you. You guys got some more videos you want me to watch right now? I feel like watching some videos real quick. Oh, here we go. Here's Woj on the Dallas Maverick Detroit Pistons Andre Drummond trade. Let's go ahead and check this one out.
Let me give you some advice. The process of doing your second draft. another team that is going to have a hard look at what it is and what it is going forward is Detroit. Andre Drummond can be a free agent after this year. Blake Griffin limped off the floor last night. A sad scene.
Had an MRI today.
We don't know what's quite going on there. What's the plan for the Pistons?
So Andre Drummond has been a favorite of owner Tom Gores. He loves Andre Drummond. They've also not won anything with a lot of their salary built around Drummond. There's a conversation that is going to go on in Detroit between now and the trade deadline, and certainly sooner than the trade deadline.
It's got to be sooner.
Do we want to extend him? Do we want to stay in the Andre Drummond business? Or is it time to move off of him, see what his value is around the league, and start to reshape this nucleus in Detroit? That is a conversation that's coming very soon in Detroit.
One last buyer, and they almost fit here because there are rumblings about whether they need more size and more beef. Dallas is way better than expected, even with Luka Doncic out now for a little while. We don't know how. It took maybe 2 weeks. Tim McMahon reported. Now they've traded those 2 picks to the Knicks, so they don't have a ton to give up. Tim Hardaway's semi-expiring is a player option. He's probably going to take it, actually. What do you expect them to do?
You know, whether it's at the trade deadline or whether it's this summer, I think they would like a big physical presence to put alongside Porzingis, Doncic, and Andre Drummond. How about a Montrezl Harrell with the Clippers? If they can't afford to keep him, he becomes a free agent.
Get paid a lot of money.
He is. And so that kind of player, look at through the years, Mark Cuban, the guys they've gone after, DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard. What other big centers am I missing? There was another one.
Well, they had Tyson Chandler for a while.
Yeah, so
Clint Capella, they've been linked to before in trade.
Yeah, so that's a position that they've had of need. And so, yeah, I think you watch Dallas. They don't have to. They're making long-term decisions. They don't have to do that here by the trade deadline, but they can be opportunistic.
First of all, if the Mavericks want a big hulking presence, they have the guy who starred as a villain in John Wick 3, Boban Marjanovic, barely even playing. They can use him. And I think they're actually very similar.
Boban was a John Wick?
Like Boston West, in that they have all of these sort of center by committee guys that are not household. They're not even like sub-household names. Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, like those guys are playing well. And I'm not sure whatever upgrade exists between those two and giving Porzingis some minutes at center to Drummond is worth giving up Tim Hardaway, who's shooting the lights out for them lately. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. When we come back, we'll talk about some more teams in the buyer, seller.
Yeah, I seen that Benjamin, that Kendra was there. I didn't know who that was until I found her on Twitter. Almost bought one of her products, but we're not going to talk about that. Let's go trade rumors. I want something good, man. And you're right, man. Oh, here we go. Should the Pistons trade? Oh, he's got 2K clips. Let's see what we got, man. I'm not going to watch Motor City Sports Talk. Let's see what else we got before we hop into that one. Yeah, I'm not watching you, duder. Sorry. God damn, he's fucking everywhere. Excuse my French. Alright, let's just go ahead and watch this first one. See what, I guess, second one. If it's a kid, we're not watching it.
Growing up, I was always the littlest guy on my team. Even now, I think I still am.
So, should the Pistons trade Andre Drummond? This season has not been very good for them, between injuries, the roster just being not that good, and whatever else, right? They could keep playing the not bad enough, not good enough game. We don't know, but should they trade?
Okay, for one, man, if you're going to have 2K in the background, at least be playing. What?
Drummond, there's already been some rumors about him connected to the Hornets, which, okay. Now, I'll say this about Drummond. I think your opinion of this, I think, depends a lot on what you feel about Andre Drummond. Personally, I think he's just kind of meh. The rebounding is, of course, what it is, but even so, between the efficiency, lack of a well-rounded offensive game, even if he's gotten better on free throws, kudos to him for that one. Defensively, he's just kind of there. Not horrible, not good enough to where I'm really going nuts about him at center. And there's just a number of centers that I would prefer to have over Drummond. Some who score more points, some who score less points. You get it, right? And one thing with
What? I'm sorry. I can't watch you after that one, dude. What the... I'm sorry. Oh, that's Big Take. Let's watch what the Big Take said. Former DSA member. Oh, he's not former. He's a current.
Probably one thing that will just never change in the NBA, or sports in general for that matter, and that's your trade rumors. And the most recent rumors that the Detroit Pistons have actually been showing interest in San Antonio Spurs guard DeMar DeRozan. We're going to get into why the Spurs would consider this deal, why the Pistons would consider this deal, and my thoughts and opinions on if the Pistons should make this move. It's your boy, The Big Take. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, and hit the bell so you can be notified.
Like that for the Big Take.
First things first, what might a trade for DeMar DeRozan even look like for the Detroit Pistons?
Oh, Duncan Smith. I'm not a big fan. Sorry, Big Take. I don't like Duncan Smith. Sorry. There's not a whole lot to watch, though, man. Was it you, Big Mike? I think it was. Outside of us, no one really talks Detroit. God, dude, this dude is everywhere. I'm not watching. Stephen A. reacts to what Detroit Pistons trade for. Oh, I thought that it said D'Angelo. Well, obviously we're not going to get Westbrook, but yeah, there's not a whole lot. There's a very old King video. Hey, Bravo's popping up. Why don't we try? If you guys got anything, let me know. Hey, there I am. Finally. Almost got 3K. Can't even be making a top of Detroit Pistons videos. Yeah. This guy talks about the Pistons a lot. Figure I know what the hell he was talking about. Yeah, there's nothing like current. Yeah. Well, maybe that's all we got. I was only planning to do the first video. Oh, here we go. Detroit Pistons should consider trading Andre Drummond since Blake trade will be tough. Let's see what you got. How many subs you got? He's got 9.
I have writer's block. I can't.
All right. So this guy should know more than me. Let's see what he's got.
Truly, just say it with me. They call me Mr. Telepharo. How's everybody doing out there? As we get closer and closer to the NBA trade deadline, the 2020 edition, we might be in 2020. Oh my goodness, man. As we get closer to the trade deadline, there is another name out there that I think a lot of people will see. What does this team decide to do with this guy? Let's go on to Detroit. Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a big fella. He's averaging, around 16 points, 15 rebounds a game, somewhere along there. Don't quote me on that exact number, but he's averaging a very high double-double. He's giving you 14, 15 rebounds a game. He's consistent.
Okay, guys. This is where we need to do our research, okay? If you are talking trades and are going to... That's a very beautiful spot where I paused it. But if you are going to be doing trade talks outside of the teams you don't know very well, maybe you know the Pistons, I don't know. He's averaging 17 and 16 and a half. Was it 18 and 7? He's almost averaging 17 and 17. Just saying. But that's a very, very funny picture.
And the place where Andre Drummond is going to make the most money is, the reason why he's going to make a lot of money is he works hard. And he's been working his behind off this year for the Pistons.
Yeah, I see Extra Crispy a couple times. It's kind of weird doing a reaction to another reaction. we'll see, but we'll get there.
Pistons, they're not any good. Actually, I thought they'd be better than what they've been thus far. But again, Drummond is just one of those guys who.
What's going on, Mike?
Night, you know he's going to be on the boards. You know he's going to earn his paycheck, and he's about to get paid. I'm looking around at some of the numbers that some of these guys have gotten that can't do as much as he does. I'm looking at Clint Capella's number he got from the Rockets a couple years ago. I think Drummond's better than Clint Capella. I'm looking around thinking, damn, he's about to get paid. Now, here's the decision that the Pistons have to make. Can we build around Andre Drummond? Should we trade Blake Griffin? Is it time for us to blow this thing up? I like Blake Griffin a lot more than I like Andre Drummond, but I have to admit, Andre Drummond over the last couple years has been more accessible than Blake, who's becoming injury prone. So that's something that the Pistons have to think about. Yo, maybe we want to keep Blake over Andre, but we know Drummond is going to be available, taking better care of his body than Blake. So that's something that the Pistons have to weigh. If they want to keep Drummond long term, you got to believe that they get this extension done, I mean, right before the season ends. Right, or agree on something before you let this dude walk into free agency. If he gets to free agency, if he gets to July 1, I don't believe, and I know the Pistons can offer him much more money, I don't believe he'll be in Detroit. One of these other cities are going to offer Andre Drummond a lot of money, a better city than Detroit, and he's going to be up out that door. One team that I would keep an eye on is the Dallas Mavericks. Think about Dallas. Think about some of the guys that they went out after the last couple years. They went after DeAndre Jordan hard. Remember the Clippers? They ended up keeping DeAndre late that night. Doc and Chris Paul went to his door and Blake went to his door. And then they ended up getting DeAndre Jordan a couple years later. So we know that they've had their mindset on that athletic big. So I think Dallas could be a home for DeAndre. I wonder, would Dallas make a move for DeAndre at the deadline right now? Maybe trading away Tim Hardaway. Dallas is one of those teams where
Why does he keep saying DeAndre? It's Andre.
I don't believe they're too many pieces away from making a serious run. Tim Hardaway's been lighting it up. I wonder, could Dallas put together, I don't know, maybe Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, but here's the whole counter-reacting to Tim Hardaway. I love Tim. He's a great player. But the way Luke Kennard's been playing, you don't want to take away Luke's minutes. You don't want to take away Luke's minutes. Those are our two shooting guards of our future. Nothing against Tim. Tim would come in here and get buckets. But I don't want to take away either one of those two guys' minutes away. Because even though they may not be fantastic right now, Luke's having a great season. Luke's been a little bit inconsistent. But these are good actual minutes Luke is getting. Meaningful minutes. Let him develop. We know he can shoot. It took Luke Kennard 3 years to get an opportunity. And bringing in a guy like Tim Hardaway is going to delay our future of developing these younger guys. He'd be good right now. But if we're going to blow it up, quote unquote, and trade away Andre, give the young guys minutes.
Dwight Powell for Andre Drummond, then re-sign him long term. Look, we know Mark Cuban's a big fish hunter. I just don't know. He's got pretty much one last max contract spot in mind. We know it. That's who he is. Where will he allocate those funds to? Does he go with another guard to kind of pack with Luka in that backcourt / that front court area? Or does he go with a big to go alongside Porzingis, who is limited defensively? Mark's in an interesting spot. He's got two superstar caliber players. Definitely Luka's a superstar. Kristaps teetering. Both of them limited defensively. So either you need to put a guard that can defend around Luka on that perimeter, or a center who can kind of pick up where Porzingis lacks, right? So we'll see. That getting Drummond would definitely be the center that you need to pick up where Porzingis lacks. But then they'll be financially limited on that perimeter going forward. I think they're the team to watch out at the trade deadline, and definitely this summer. If we're talking Andre Drummond, it does depend on if the Detroit Pistons decide to extend Drummond. I believe if they could get a deal done under the table right now for Drummond and give him the most money available, I believe he'll stay in Detroit. But if the Pistons are like, can you take a hometown discount for us? I think that's when Drummond will say, bye-bye. Thank you. Next. And he'll go elsewhere this summer. You into sports, we got you. NFL news, I got you. NBA news, NBA.
I like that video better than the rest of them. Let's see. I mean, there's not a whole lot out there for Pistons content. I'm not seeing much. That was a good video though. I mean, everything else is either old or nothing I really want to talk about. Yeah, Richard Jefferson, you're kind of a fool for that one. He needed to prove himself. He just got hurt. Chump. Alright, well, unless you guys got another video? If you guys got a video, let me know. Boom. If not, I'll just have to sit here and wait until you do. Because I don't see anything else on here. Let me check my phone because I can search it on my phone a little bit better. Yeah, Tobias, they're killing the Bucks right now, man. Rusty Buckets, who's that? I did. Rusty Buckets. Where's that one at? Rusty Buckets. I'm not seeing a Rusty Buckets. Is that the name of the channel or? Yeah, that's like the top. Yeah, I'm trying to find a different video, but it's not looking great right now. I don't want Detroit Drew. I want Detroit Pistons. But thank you for that search. It's all highlights and stuff when you just search Detroit. It's definitely an open market. You know, if what was I gonna say? If you wanted to get into YouTube, I mean, there's a really untapped market for Detroit Pistons. There's only a few of us who actually talk Detroit Pistons. And, you know, the fan base is divided. You know, we all have different ideas of how to get this ship righted. Oh, his channel's name is Rusty Buckets. I didn't see anything come up there. I'll look him up real quick. But if you wanted to get into YouTube, I mean, this is a good testing period to see what he can get into. Alright, so let's see what Rusty Buckets has got. I don't see anything right here from Detroit Pistons. Oh, right here. Why the Detroit Pistons need to rebuild. All right, we'll give this one a shot. Let's go ahead and flip the camera. Go ahead, hit play on that.
All right, before we get on with the video, I want to ask that you please drop a like. YouTube has been suppressing my channel lately.
Is this the same guy we watched earlier that I had to quit? Well, better not be. I won't be happy.
It used to be that 80% of my viewers were not subscribed, so basically people who saw it and recommended. Now that number is only 40%, so need a like to help push this out, so it would be greatly appreciated. But anyways, on with the topic of the video. The Pistons are off to a very rough start. They have a 4-9 record, and they are below the Bulls, Cavs, and Hornets, who they just lost to a Malik Monk a game winner to in the standings, despite being much more talented than all of those teams and probably better coached as well. What's really weird about this start is that there really isn't anyone directly to blame. Drummond is having probably the best statistical year of his career so far, averaging 19 points and 17 rebounds a game. Derrick Rose has been fantastic for them, averaging 18 points and 6 assists on 54% shooting. Luke Kennard is having a career year with 17 a game, shooting 41% from 3 on 7 attempts, finally becoming that JJ Redick type of player that he's supposed to be. Also getting 4 assists a game because he is more versatile than JJ Redick offensively. Langston Galloway, who is pretty much seen as a whatever player on this team, is doing amazing. Him, Tony Snell, and Markieff Morris are all hitting their threes at a high percentage. 46% on 5 attempts for Langston Galloway, 46% on 5 attempts for Tony Snell, and 41% on 4 attempts for Markieff Morris, who was originally seen as pretty much a stretch 4 that can't shoot. But he's been shooting well this year. And Christian Wood, who they picked up from the Pelicans, has been very good off of the bench. Wood was someone that I thought a team should take a crack at, and the Pistons were the one to do so. He played really well with the Pelicans in like 15 games last year, put up like 17 points per game. So I was glad to see him get an opportunity, and he's played really good for them as a pick and roll big man. Also shooting well from 3 on limited attempts, albeit. Injuries have been the only real factor here. Blake has only played in 2 games, Rose has only played in 8 games, and Reggie Jackson has only played in 2 games. And speaking on Reggie Jackson, I did want to say something about him, and that is that people need to stop disrespecting him. People are acting like he is just a straight up bad player and the Pistons are better off with him not playing. Derrick Rose is definitely better. I do think Derrick Rose should still be a bench player because he wants to win a 6th Man of the Year award, and I do think he's best in that role. When Reggie Jackson comes back, I do believe he should start. Reggie's a good playmaker, became a surprisingly good shooter last year, 37% on like 7 attempts a game. Alright defensively. I mean, he's not great. He's definitely overpaid, but I don't know why people shit on this guy so much. He's an alright point guard. Far from my first pick for my starting point guard spot, but also not my last. So him being out is important to this team because he is a solid starting level player, and when you're as lacking in depth and talent outside of the top 2 that this Pistons team is, you need consistently for the next couple of years because it seems like things are ready to fall apart. Things are in place for them to be that way. Even if this season can be saved for what? The 8th seed? I get it if that's what they're cool with, but I still think that's a mistake. In my view of basketball and how teams should operate is either be contending for a championship or be building up to eventually contend for a championship. Either rebuild, be in the process of getting towards a championship in an in-between area, or be a championship contender. If you are neither of those 3 things, you are wasting your time. And the reason I say that this team looks like it's about to fall apart regardless, Andre Drummond is 26 years old and he is in the last year of his contract. This is the first time that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He's the best rebounder in the league, became a pretty solid defensive player, great in the pick and roll. He's going to get a decent bag, especially with a very lacking in depth free agency class. He's also said that he's looking forward to free agency, which pretty much implies that he is either going to want to get a shit ton of money from Detroit or he is looking forward to getting out of there, because he wouldn't say I'm looking forward to free agency if he's planning on just coming back to a team-friendly deal on the same team. Another factor here is that Blake Griffin is 30 years old and he has shown throughout his entire career that he is very injury prone. It's an unfortunate truth that Blake Griffin has injury problems, and as he gets older, you can only expect them to get worse. Derrick Rose is not going to get much better than he currently is, and he is also another injury concern. You can never really count on him playing any more than 60 games during a regular season, and there's always the playoffs as well if they made it there. And everyone besides for Christian Wood and Luke Kennard are pretty much what they are, with no realistic chance of getting that much better. I think Luke Kennard has a chance to become a solid scorer in the NBA, but nothing crazy. Christian Wood, a really good backup big man, and that's about the depth of their young talent. Everyone else on this team is either established or just bad. Shout out to Thon Maker. So what we have here is a team full of veterans, not a whole lot of depth, a very poor bench unit, and I also see a team that's pretty much hit its ceiling. Give, Luke Kennard 2 years to be...
That's the thing I don't like about, talking about other teams you don't watch. Like, he just spent the first 6 minutes that I fast forward to because it took him forever to get to his damn point. A lot of people, you can't watch every NBA game. It's almost impossible. That's why when you watch ESPN or all that other stuff, I mean, there's multiple people. But they all watch the big market teams because that's what the majority of people who live in America want to listen to. Not everyone wants to hear about the Detroit Pistons, who are currently the 11th seed. I get it. But if you're going to talk about them seriously, you have to do some research about some of their younger players. And so far, people that we have listened to, that I have listened to, have not mentioned people like Sekou Doumbouya, Jordan Bone, Dante Hall, Sviv Mihailuk, Bruce Brown, some of the younger guys who are going to be good in the future, but maybe not right now. They don't even talk about them. You kind of have to.
Better, but maybe Blake Griffin's not as good when he's 32 and has dealt with more injury. Maybe, I'd imagine...
Yo, are we going to talk about how Philadelphia is just embarrassing Milwaukee right now? That is... We should be watching that.
Andre Drummond pretty much stagnate from where he is now. So it really does not seem like this team is getting any better, and even if the players that I don't think have much more farther to go farther, even then, this team needs a lot more to be a even borderline contender. So, in my opinion, they need to rebuild. Now, the good thing here is that they do have enough assets to actually get a solid head start on their rebuild. That's one of the things I liked about the Chicago Bulls, is that they had a star player going into their rebuild that they were able to trade. Whereas you think as a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, they really had Drew Holiday, who was injury prone, and all they got out of him was Nerlens Noel. It's nice to have a couple of established players that you can turn into young assets or draft picks. And luckily enough for the Detroit Pistons, they do have that. It's not like they're starting from scratch. Although they could be if they keep holding out, which is a thing we'll get into in a second. I only really have 2 trades that are really big here, and I think are the ones that make the most sense for both sides. For how they could start their rebuild. We have Blake Griffin to the Portland Trail Blazers for Zach Collins and Anthony Simmons. I'm sure many of you want me to talk about Carmelo Anthony to the Blazers, and here's where I'm going to say it. That's not going to work out because Carmelo Anthony is not that good anymore. I don't even know if I'd say he's good anymore. So, he's not...
Well, that statement did not hold up pretty well, did it?
The solution to all of Portland's problems. Portland needs some more bigs because Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic are out until at least 2020. They also need some more scoring outside of Dame and CJ. If Rodney Hood is your 3rd best scorer on your team, that is a concern. He should be the best scorer you have off of your team's bench, not your go-to option after Dame and CJ. And the Pistons would get back Zach Collins and Anthony Simmons, as well as probably a 1st-round pick. Zach Collins has potential to be a very
man, I'm sorry. I have no idea what the hell this is talking about. I'm sorry, I can't. So we're going to go ahead and call that one quits. We're going to go ahead and get off my own screen there. We're going to go ahead and go back to this screen so we look normal. It is Christmas, so I don't want to be on for too much longer. We've been on for like an hour. That's pretty crazy. It does not feel like an hour. But this is probably going to be the last time going live until Saturday, until Above the Rim's back. So taking a little bit of time off of the live streams. Unless there's a crazy video that you guys want, I probably won't be doing this until next week at the least. We're going to get ready for 2020. We got a lot of big things coming in 2020. But Saturday, we're doing something fun on Above the Rim. We might start out talking Pistons or NBA stuff in general, but we are going to be playing a trivia game. And hopefully I can get people that aren't just Pistons fans, because hopefully this can be like the first combination of the round table and the Above the Rim show, because we're going to do a trivia game, and I'm going to give away a prize to the winner and see who knows their Detroit sports history the most. So it's a good way to celebrate the holidays. So if you guys want to get on this Saturday, 1 p.m., you got to hit me up on Instagram and Twitter and let me know. DSA members do get first dibs, so whoever lets me know who they want on first is going to get in. But it's going to be a fun show. We might be relying on you to answer some of the questions as a phone a friend option. So we'll see. Nah. I probably won't do any live stream during the games, even if we get spanked by the Wizards. So yeah, we'll have to see, man. They need something to happen. Again, I don't know if a full rebuild's the answer. I'm surprised no star has demanded a trade yet. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. You know, I haven't heard anyone ask for a trade yet, let alone a star. And really the only trade that's happened was Jordan Clarkson for Dante Exum. It's not really groundbreaking. It's kind of disappointing. So trades will be pouring in, whether it's the Pistons or not, I don't know. But it's officially trading season. So we got that to look forward to. There's going to be a lot more rumors coming out for the Pistons and the league in general, so stay tuned for all that. Don't worry. We're just getting all of our headlines and all of our stuff ready to roll. So, yeah, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket on that one. We might lose, low key. So, not really looking forward to it. I just don't know what it is against these lower teams that the Pistons, they can't beat them. I don't know why. There's no answer except for poor defense and turnovers, poor coaching. I mean, I guess I do know why we suck, but. Yeah, if you guys got any more videos like you want me to react to, if there's any good ones, it does not have to be the Pistons, but I do prefer it. We could do Red Wings, we can do Lions, we could do Tigers and all that good stuff. I do know the most about the Pistons and the Lions current situations than I do against the Wings and the Tigers, because I haven't watched the Tigers since they hired Osmus. That was a mistake right from the rip. So I don't know. But if you guys got any Lion or Piston videos you guys want me to react to, you know what to do. But you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy your day. I'm going to go back and drink some more Drew Weisers and have some more fun. So you guys have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Are you ready?